Hello, I'm Joel Richardson, and today I'm going to be talking about golf clubs and golf in general, and talk about some of the rule changes and the golf clubs and like the degrees and what they mean. Firstly, we're going to talk about golf club and like the degrees. There's 19 different types of golf clubs. There's six, five woods, 8 irons, and 4 wedges, and each of them have a different degree, and it correlates to how far you hit the ball with each shot and when you use that club. For instance, a typical like mid-range club that a lot of people use for a lot of situations is a 7 iron, and that's between 36 and 40 degrees, and typically an amateur male hits it about 150. And then when you go to a club, the 6 iron, which is 4 degrees less, that goes about 10 yards farther. And then 5 iron, it's 4 degrees less, and that goes about 5 yards farther. And same for 8 iron, it's 4 degrees more, and it goes uh, 10 yards less than the 7 iron. And the 9 irons, 4 degrees more than 8, and it goes 10 yards less. So just keep going up and down from there. You'll it's 10 yards, and I'll help you with figuring out how far each club goes and what you should be using in each situation. Above irons is woods, and those go from 7 wood to 2 wood. And the 7 wood, and woods are bigger club. They have a bigger club head. The 7 wood is 28 degrees, and that goes about a little bit farther than a 7 iron. Goes 170, but most people don't use a 7 wood. They usually use like a 5 or 3 wood if they're going to use one. So for a 5 wood, it's 23 degrees, and it goes 210. So it goes about 40 yards farther, and is about 5 degrees less than a 7 wood. And a 3 wood is about 6 degrees lower than 5 wood, and that goes 235 yards. And the wedges are under irons, and they go a lot farther. They're for closer up to the green when you're trying to get close to the hole. And the lowest degree wedge is a pitching wedge. That's 53 degrees, and it goes about 120 yards. And the next is a gap wedge, which is usually around 4 degrees lower than a pitching wedge, or higher degree than a pitching wedge, and that goes about 10 yards. And then the sand and the lob wedge are about the same degrees and distance wise, and it's 10 yards for each of those. And so next I'm going to talk to you about some of the new rule changes that came into effect in the 2019 season for golf that made things simpler and easier for players to help the game move along faster. One of those is, instead of when you hit the ball into like water or out of bounds, you don't have to drop it from shoulder height anymore. You drop it from knee height so the ball doesn't move as much when you're putting it back into play when you lose a ball. And that's just going to help things move along faster and make the ball drop more simple and just easier for everyone. Another thing is that it's been seen a lot in the pros, and it's a lot of analysts are getting hard to get used to it. You can have the flag stick in when you putt on the greens, when last year you couldn't at all. And then there's a few guys that'll putt with the flag. So if it used to be if you had the flag in while it was on the green and you hit it, it'd be a 2-stroke penalty. Now you can do it at any time, no matter how close and how far in the green you are from the hole, and there's no penalty. And another new rule for this year is before you couldn't repair like marks on the green that are in your line of putt right before you putt. So like animal damage right in front of where you putt or spike marks, you couldn't repair that before, you'd get a penalty for that. Now you can go up your line and just fix divots and stuff to make the putts smoother and easier to get to the hole. And one last thing is like caddies used to be able to stand right behind you, like before your shot in the fairways, to help you line up your shot and all that, and there's no penalty. This year, if they line up behind you and try to help you set up with alignment for your shot, you can't do that, and it's just it's a penalty, and you don't want those. So you never want a penalty. It'll just ruin your day and all that. So that's how the new rules work for golf, the new 2019, and how each club, like the degrees on clubs, differ from one another and what they mean and how far you hit the ball. Thank you for listening.